Hello, welcome in everyone. It's great to see you. Happy September. Back to school, back to organizing. Welcome. My name is Jamie, and I'll be leading our program this evening. And tonight is all about that kitchen space and the bathroom space. So we tried to really choose two spaces where back to school, it feels like we might be using those spaces more so. It's before the holidays, so it's a perfect time to tidy up those spaces. You may be having guests come over, or you're going to be doing maybe more cooking and baking, or just spending more time indoors, maybe cooking more. Maybe you do a little barbecuing over the summer. Doesn't matter. A kitchen and bathroom, I think, year round, but maybe most especially this month. Such great topics to chat about. So we've got a lot to cover in our time together. Questions in the chat, like all throughout, totally anytime, jump in. I'll scroll back. There's also a Q&A button. Sometimes you can see it, sometimes you can't. But if you can see the Q&A button, but in the chat, if it is a question, if you put a question mark first, that'll really help highlight it for me so I don't overlook it. I never intentionally overlook a question, but sometimes it happens. The chat just goes so quick. So jump in chat if you'd like to anytime. We're going to talk kitchens and bathrooms. Then we'll spend the last just about close to the end of our time together, about 10 minutes doing. So if you're just here for the content part and you're like, I just want to take some notes, listen, and like let it all soak in, that's what we'll do first. If you love the fact that we take a little time during the program to get the doing done, because, it's one of those things I would always say, like, if I take a program on anything, right, watercolors or anything, it'll be like, okay, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it. And then I turn off the computer and then life happens, right? And I've got this and that, and oh, I'm going to get to it after I do this. And once I get my to-do list done, I'll get back to it. And all of a sudden I'm like, it's been 6 months since I took that class and I didn't do anything. And so that is one of the benefits, I think, of continually coming together, because we have that accountability, and it's like our little declutter club. So it's such a delight, and it's going to continue on. Again, thank you to the library. So all sorts of stuff's happening tonight. We are clearing out the kitchen and the bathroom. Let's focus in on the 3 S's: storage, surfaces, and sustain. So I tried to get like 3 S's going. I think it worked pretty well, right? Storage. So I really would encourage you, especially in that kitchen space and in the bathroom, whether you're doing one or both, either, both, storage. And that's because if there's stuff out on a vanity or out on a countertop, there's a really good chance that it can't be put away, because the storage is either not identified, we're not sure where we're going to put it, where are we going to store it, or the storage is overstuffed. And if it's overstuffed, then we can't put something away. And so I would invite you to maybe focus on storage first, which may not feel very rewarding because it's usually behind a closed door or in a drawer, a cabinet, in the fridge, in the pantry. You don't really see it right away. And it's like, but wait, I was really busy, and what changed? But then it can change like that, because now the things that are out have a place to go. So storage is first, then those surfaces. If we started with surfaces, you'd probably be like me and just move stuff around because there's no place to put it. And then sustain. And I think that might be the most important S of all, because once you get it how you want it, and it's looking not perfect, but good, right? We need to keep it that way. Otherwise, it piles up again and we're like, oh, I failed. And we haven't failed. We just forgot to practice that 3rd S. So if you're taking some notes, storage, surface, sustain. So that's sort of how I would invite you to maybe consider going into one of these spaces. And as a reminder, we're not looking at the room as a whole. That's overwhelming. I would just go like this and be done. I would just move things around and then I'd walk out of the room and forget it. I'll do it later. It's too overwhelming. But when we think of a room and then pare it down to the category, a category I can do just the spices, just one shelf of the medicine cabinet, for example. And so this is where we would begin. Those categories. We don't look at the whole area. It's too much. We don't have that kind of time. Energy, you have to like physically be up for all that, but then mentally to make all those decisions, like our bandwidth just isn't there. And so I really think focusing on categories little by little by little. Okay, so storage first, surfaces. So now we can put the things away because we created space in the storage areas, and sustain, our third S of all. All right, so just as a recap, we will be focusing in on kitchen, then bathroom, then I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. And if you weren't expecting to take 10 minutes out of the program and like physically do something, maybe you're not in a space or a place to do that for any reason, then I'm guessing hopefully there'll be something you can do where you are. So if you're tuned in while you're driving, don't do anything, just focus on driving. But if you were in a different space and you can't work on one of those areas right now, maybe you'll bring out your phone and delete some emails for 10 minutes. So we really are going to try like a 10-minute window, but we'll do it at the end. That way you get all the juicy stuff. And if you need to log off because you were like, but I didn't account for doing the thing today, no worries. And then maybe you'll come back next month and it's all about the photos. So we're going to take a look at 10 in 10. Oh, I know. This is one of my favorite strategies. So it usually begins with clearing out the recycling or the trash bin, getting a donate bag or box, getting a trash bag ready. It depends on what space you're doing and what we think we're going to find. And then it's probably not a surprise, but just in case I've confused you, 10 in 10 goes a little something like this. We're going to set a timer for, can you guess? You got it, right? 10 minutes, which is what we'll be doing towards the end of our program. 10 minutes. And the goal is to find 10 things in 10 minutes to go. So are we looking for 10 things from the refrigerator that were food and now they're not food or not any food we should consume? Maybe it's a half-used marinade that you just won't like anymore. It's a bunch of chives that has turned into a science experiment and they need to go. We'd be looking for 10 things. I find I personally am more dedicated to the project if I have a goal and I can look for 10 things. Sometimes I excel and I exceed my goal. Sometimes I fall a little short of my goal, but it's still a success. But if I'm just like, oh, I'm going to go organize that area, how will I really know like what I'm doing? What's my goal? How will I know when I'm done? So that timer lets me know 10 things in 10 minutes. What are we looking for? So let's start with the kitchen. Then we'll look at the bathroom space. I'm going to show you a code that is appearing, a little icon that's appearing on a lot of bathroom products that you may not have noticed. It's over by the recycling symbol typically. So I'll share my screen and show you that in a little bit. And then it will be time to set the timer and do a little tidy up task. Then we'll come back for any final questions, and then I'll see you next month. So that's how tonight will go. What are we looking for in the kitchen? Well, you remember, we're talking storage first, right? So how many of us have been under a kitchen sink? How long has it been? Let us know in the chat. And again, totally optional. If you're like, I don't know where chat is, I don't like to chat, no worries, don't chat. But if you're like, I'm going to chat, I got to tell her, it's been too long, says Teresa. When is the last time you like actually had everything out of maybe that underneath the sink cabinet? April, says Esther. That's impressive. Surprisingly though, even though April doesn't feel like that long ago, she still may have put a bunch of stuff back in. Sometimes that happens. Kristen says 2 weeks. Okay, that's awesome. Carlos says a couple months. Miriam says last week. Okay, first of all, this is impressive. That's typically not the answer, so you've surprised me a little. Oh, Barbara says when we had a problem. Yep, that'll do it. That will certainly make anytime you have to have like a repair done or an upgrade, that will get that done because you've got to clear the space, you've got to make a path, or if there's like a water leak or something. Oh, that's so disappointing. I hope it's all solved. Yes. Oh, and speaking about when Barbara mentioned having that problem, one of the things that I laid down under the sinks, they make this mat, almost like a mat that you would see on the car floor, right? But it has a lip. And that way, if there is an issue, it can contain a bunch of water before it starts to damage the wood of your cabinets. So I only found out about that after I needed it, but now it's there. Okay, Cynthia's making us giggle. She says 2010. That's more like the answer I was kind of expecting. So we're on the same page. Yesterday, Catherine says, but only because needed to get in there. A long time, says Donna. Yeah, we almost probably don't want to think about it. And Janet says last November. So thanks for chiming in. It's just always nice to see, some of us are more focused on that space, and then others, myself included, have let it go. And then there was a problem like Barbara, and then you kind of have to do it. So glass vases, if you have like florist vases, so this is when you think to yourself, okay, well, how many fresh floral displays am I displaying at one time? And that would probably give us a clue as to like how many of these we need. And back to the florist, donate them. If you still have beautiful flowers in your garden, add them to the vase and then give the vase away to a neighbor. Hopefully not a neighbor that's tuned into the program because they don't want your vase, but another neighbor, and then just say, oh, I don't need the vase back, it's yours. So that works. So yep, checking for a leak for sure. That another reason, right? Just the maintenance of whether you rent or own, home, apartment, townhome, condo, just that, being able to be on top of things so that yeah, little leaks like that don't turn into big, big issues. So we are thinking, under that kitchen sink or in a drawer. So we're thinking pots and pans and serving platters. Those take up a lot of space, gigantic oversized salad bowls. So when you can find like one large thing to go, it can create a lot of space quickly, or a broad category, all that can go. Like I'm going to keep 2 serving platters and 17 of them might go. So great suggestions coming in the chat. Stay up on the chat. Lynn says Power of Flowers might take your glass vases, and they're in Tewksbury. So that's great. Yes, always check and then donate as well. So that's perfect. Love it. Love all your suggestions. Thanks, everyone. And continue, having those chats, jump in with ideas and resources. We love that. All right. So we are looking in drawers and cabinets, the fridge, the pantry. What else are we looking for? Large categories of things. So things like the souvenir cups that come from like, sporting events, or if you go to an amusement park and it's like, oh, it's a good cup. Well, yes, but how many of them do we need? And if you've got stacks of them, that creates a lot of space fast if you decide just to simply donate them. And you might think, well, could I donate this? Like, who's going to want this? And you'd be surprised. I know a lot of like teachers that will use them if they're art teachers for rinsing out paintbrushes. And now that I just said that, you're probably like, I should save a couple in case I take up watercolors. I'm going to need to rinse my paintbrushes. And now I've given you idea as to why you might want to keep it. And I promise you, you will find something to rinse your paintbrush. So please let it go. And we've got those water bottles, the ones that just aren't your favorite. They're missing a lid. They don't go in the dishwasher. You've got all the travel coffee mugs. So again, these are those large categories of things where we can just find, we're looking for 10 things. That might be 6 or 7 things right there. And a really good one is to think about maybe just melted, warped, peeling, rusty, expired, broken beyond use, broken beyond repair. More trouble than it's worth to use, more trouble than it's worth to clean or maintain or store. So I'm thinking about some of those little like infomercial kinds of things where it's like, oh, here's a thing to like peel your garlic. Well, it sounds great until you're like, now I've got to take all the pieces off and all the stuff. And so, more trouble than it's worth. Don't have all the parts, can't fix it. Half used, never used, expired, warped, melted, and peeling. Flimsy, that's another one. That's dangerous, right? If you think of like a pot with a handle, and if it can't be tightened and then you're like got something hot in the pot, that's not good. So flimsy, even flimsy in terms of like just sort of like a spatula you thought would be great, and then it's like too flimsy to do anything with. Like we can't change that. A cracked wooden spoon. So I'm just sort of like giving ideas. You might be going, check, check, check. I have all of that. And you might go, well, nope, I don't have that, but yep, that one you mentioned. So just sort of think about where you might start. Are we thinking spices? That's a good one. They do expire, they really do. A typical rule of thumb is if you kind of take a little of the spice between your fingers and like crush it or smush it a little, and there's no scent to it, it typically isn't going to have a flavor, then it won't enhance the dish. I can't say whether or not it would be okay to use it beyond the expiration date, so my official answer is no. But of course, you'll make your own decision with that. But if, they do expire once they're opened. Now, here is an insider tip from a professional chef. How many of us have our, little container of spice, and we might take it over a steaming pot or something coming out of the oven, to add more spices. Did you know that's a no-no? Some of you probably already knew. I just recently found that out, so I'm sharing it because I was floored to find out I've been spicing my stuff wrong for my entire life. I was this many years old when I found out, because, and that's the like that steam, right? The moisture goes into the container, and that's why a lot of times then it doesn't dispense. So insider tip from a professional, otherwise known as my husband, but there you go. All right, so we are thinking about spaces that are overstuffed, things that don't have a home, things you're not using. Can we pare down? And a really good general rule is to pare down by 50%. Now, that might be a little unnerving because 50%, you're losing 50% of your stuff, but you're gaining 50% more space and you're gaining access to the things that you use. So if you're paring down pantry and spices and bakeware and cookware, we tend to reach for the same stuff over and over again. Those are our favorites. They work really well. The challenge is when we've got other stuff in the way. So we're looking at those baking tins that are rusty and we can't fix them, the ones that heat unevenly. And I'm going to share a little technique for the utensils, sort of like the kitchen gadgets and utensil gadgety kinds of things. They might be in a crock on the countertop. They might be in a drawer. Depends on where you have them stored. I would often try to like open that drawer. First, I'd have to move the potato masher because the drawer wouldn't open, but then I would get the drawer open and it's just like a bunch of random stuff. And some of it I need, some of it I don't know what I use it, but you know, it looks good in the drawer. So I'm not really sure what to get rid of. So here's a tip. If you're going to be cooking and baking and preparing over the next week or so, dump everything out of that drawer into a container. Nothing sharp. We wouldn't want anyone to get injured, of course, but just like the random gadgety, you know, utensil kinds of stuff. Now, over the next week, as you're preparing meals and doing all the stuff, anything you use, wash and return back where it belongs. At the end of a week or two, it will be very clear what's left, like the leftovers in that box or container. Those are the items that either we don't need any longer or we just don't use them often enough and they should be relocated because they don't really like deserve to have that front and center space. And we would call that prime real estate. So prime real estate is the easiest to access storage space in any room of your home. And that's going to be filled with the things you use most often. But what happens is we use something, we put it away. Let's say maybe if you eat crab, you might have crab claw crackers there. And maybe you really only use them in the summer, maybe not even that often in the summer, but there they are because it's where they got put away. We would relocate those. Unless you use them all the time, then they deserve that front and center prime real estate. Okay, so flimsy, broken, rusted, melted, warped, peeling, broken, too many, just complete excess. Just don't like it, won't finish it. You tried the marinade, don't like the marinade. Why are we keeping the marinade? We're going to say so long to the marinade. And we're getting rid of those spices. So, oh, Janet likes that tip on the drawer. It really is a game changer. And Janet, actually, it's a great strategy, sort of like across the board for a lot of different spaces. And we'll talk more about this in other upcoming programs, but you can really employ that technique in other places. For example, maybe like a bookshelf or a decorative curio, instead of trying to remove things like, oh, I don't want this, I don't want that, take everything back and then reclutter, put back what belongs there and what you love to display or use. And then the other either gets relocated or we say so long. And of course, the goal is really to say so long. So if it can be used by someone else, we'll donate it. And if not, then it simply has to be trashed or recycled or whatever else is happening. So we're going to move on to the bathroom in just a moment. Let's take a look at a few other things in the kitchen that might be things to go. And one of those is going to be accessories for maybe items that you no longer own. So this goes to a juicer. I don't own the juicer. I don't know. We probably donated the juicer or maybe the juicer motor burnt out. I don't know. I don't know where the juicer is, but it's not in my house. But this only fits that juicer. And so it needs to go. So that's the kind of recycle, trash, get rid of kind of a thing. Now, chip clips, otherwise known as clothespins, and sometimes binder clips, if you know the officey binder clips, and then also chip clips. So if they don't keep the bag closed, then the chips are going to go stale or things are going to spill in the pantry. And so this is just a great technique to which ones are working, where do I keep them, and then grouping similar things together. So we always want to store like with like. And so that might mean that your chip clips and maybe clothespins, if you're like me, or binder clips are in the drawer, right? But maybe if you have a dedicated pantry, which I really don't because I have more of like a galley kitchen, so very tight on space. I have to be super efficient and ruthless with what I save. And I don't think I'd have it any other way because bigger space, I would just have more stuff. But sometimes you have like a pantry cabinet or a full like almost walk-in pantry. And it might make more sense to store the chip clips there because then they are there when you need them, right? They're just so convenient. So we always want to try to group like with like and store it where you use it. Store it where you use it. So if that would make more sense, then that would be fantastic. Now, I think we do have to have a little discussion about food storage containers. And that's just because I think most of us are saving too many. We're rinsing out sour cream tubs, or is that just me? I'm rinsing out sour cream tubs. I rinsed out another one last night. We've got the tubs and the containers and the lids. And then we buy another pack of like, food storage containers because it's on sale and it's 80 more pieces. And so in case you're wondering, I do have a bit of an equation in the kitchen chapter of keep this, toss that. We talk about like trying to figure out how many you need, and this is written in checklist format. So it's published by Reader's Digest. It's my newest book, Keep This, Toss That. And you can see more about me and the book and everything. And of course, I'm available at the library as well. So, oh, now Art says, what do you use to in the space under the oven, storing cookie sheets there? So the space under the oven is actually like, I think, a warming drawer for most of us. But if you don't use it as a warming drawer, most of us do use it as storage. So there you go. Our TT's got a great way to repurpose. And then Nancy's going, yes, Tupper Scare. Ooh, perfect for October, this time of year, right? The spooky time of year. And Nancy goes, Tupper Scare. Yeah, for sure, right? Because it is such a challenge. So really what we want to look at is how many items are you putting away like leftover wise? Now, if you cook for a week and freeze a bunch, then that's a very different scenario than like some of us that are just putting a few leftovers away. So in general, we can all get away with, and this might be a little, controversial, so we can have a discussion in the chat, but I'm going to say 7 food storage containers of a medium size. Now, if you take your lunch every day or you're packing lunches for others and all the things, or we're all packing lunches, or you have a lot of leftovers, then that's going to be a different scenario. But sort of on the minimalist side of things, 7. So again, this is where the ones we use most often, the one we reach for all the time, it's our favorite. Maybe you're switching to glass and they all have the same lid size, which is amazing. And then you've got those. That's what we reach for all the time. The extras that you use, maybe if company's coming and you're sending leftovers, or you're going to an event and you're taking things, or you're going to an event and you are bringing the food storage containers so that other people can take things home, right? So those don't need to be in your way every day when all you want to do is put your meatloaf away. We relocate them. So I am not about like, get rid of this and toss that and you don't need that and don't save that. And then we have to rebuy stuff. No. But I'd love for the stuff you use most often to be front and center. And then other excess can be stored in the less convenient spaces. If you are going to put anything in the cabinets that are like too difficult to reach, I'm thinking above a refrigerator or above a microwave or sort of those top cabinets. Now I'm on the more like petite, shortery side, so I kind of like carry a little step stool with me. Mine is just a 10-inch one step. That's the only one I ever use. I will never get up on a step ladder unless someone else is home to spot me. It's just not my thing. So we always want to organize safely, and you might, try that as well. But if you are going to use like the upper cabinets, I will take a picture of what I put up there. I was shocked to open up above the refrigerator because I would have bet you like $1 million that I hadn't put anything up there because I was like, I will never remember it's there. I won't use it. Why would I do that? And then I opened it and I'm like, there's cookbooks. There was a bag of extra silverware that someone must have given me. And I don't even know. It was just, I don't even know where it all came from. And, I was shocked. I honestly, like, I'm even floored now. It's like, I had no idea that was up there. So if I had done what I just suggested, which I should take my own advice, right? Snap a photo, and then I can print the photo. And if you don't want to take a photo, that's fine too. You could just make a list. And then in a cabinet that I can see when it opens, right there on the back, what's up there, and then a little clue. I like a picture because then I don't have to write everything out and it's just easy to glance and go, oh, that's what's up there. But of course, you could just also make a list. So that's, it's sort of like a where did I put it list, right? Because then it's like a where is this in my house kind of thing. Fantastic. Okay, so we've talked Tupperware and then just all the silverware, right? It comes when you get like your takeout, and then sometimes it has salt and pepper packet in it. And like, as if we don't all have salt and pepper, this is like the emergency travel salt and pepper. Use them, just use them. A lot of food banks and food pantries take them. Just don't bring them home. Start to use up the ones you have and then group them together. That's one of the biggest things that was taking up space in my drawer, as was my condiment packets. So my little, this is a teeny tiny ketchup. It's so old, it's not even ketchup anymore. I don't know what ketchup becomes when it's not ketchup, but it's not ketchup. And this was mustard, brown premium mustard. There's no mustard left. I don't know where it went because it's not open, but there's no mustard in here. So again, not a scientist, I can't explain it, but I'm just telling you that's what's happened. So that's the kind of stuff that it goes. It just has to go. No one can use it. We can't donate it. Out it goes. Okay. One more little tidbit, a little tip, if you will, and then we're going to move into the bathroom space. Then we'll do our 10 minutes and we'll get to any final questions. But if you have these foil liners for like cupcakes and muffins, if you have anything that you're going to be putting into like a cabinet or a pantry or a refrigerator drawer, that's a door is going to be a little sticky. Look, see the syrup is like all gooey sticky. Yes, I know I should wash it, but this is for demonstration purposes. I'm just saying if it has the potential to be potentially sticky and runny and drippy and messy, right onto the foil liner before you put it in the pantry or onto like the refrigerator door. And that way, if anything leaks, it'll be trapped. This will only work with like the silicone or foil one. It won't work with just the paper one because then it'll just get stuck. But if you have extras of those and you wanted to use that little, I mean, sometimes it could be perfectly clean when you put it away and then somehow it drips or someone else uses it and it drips. So there we go. Nancy says, I have a second fridge and freezer downstairs. So keeping that inventory, this is what it's all about. Knowing what you have, knowing where to find it and using it up. And if you're not and you don't need it, then someone else can. And then sometimes things just need to go because they're beyond their expiration date. So a really good thing, we're still, I mean, I guess we would still call it the beginning of the month, right? We'll still say the beginning. Towards the beginning of every month, I try to do a couple of things. One is I look back at the previous month because I'm turning the calendar page of anything I need to follow up on so that it doesn't get forgotten because I've turned the calendar page. I look ahead on the calendar to see what's coming up. So I won't be surprised like, oh, I should have mailed that birthday card, or, oh, we need a gift, or, oh, I need an outfit for that event, right? That sort of thing. But also I will then just try to scan the pantry area because if there's anything I've purchased food-wise that I'm not going to finish by its expiration date, I cannot. My food bank will not accept food that's expired. And that's a perfect time to decide maybe someone can use it. And the newest thing I've started doing is I make a little foil pan with the birthday cake mix and an icing and a candle, and it makes like a little birthday setup. So it's always nice to think that someone, you know, that maybe is in need of that, it would have like a little celebration, which is kind of fun. So speaking of celebration, again, grouping like with like. So if you have sort of, you know, things that you use for baking, grouping that together. If you have things for decorating cakes, putting that together. And we can take that even to the next level in terms of baskets or containers or bins or just grouping things so that, let's say, you often make sandwiches if you do. And instead of having to grab like 3 different condiments and the bread and the deli meats and the pickle, it could all be in a basket. You pull it out of the refrigerator, make that and put that back. This could be the same kind of an idea with your, you know, different cabinets in the kitchen and having breakfast. If you tend to have a similar breakfast, you always make like a travel drink or a smoothie, or you always have oatmeal or cereal. Yes, I know you have bowls and I know you have spoons, but what if you took your favorite cereal bowl and your favorite cereal spoon, put them together, put it on one place, pull it out, breakfast, put it back. So we're not opening 6 cabinets to do one thing and potentially making a bigger mess. So grouping like with like in a way that makes the most sense for you. That was a little tidbit about the kitchen. Hopefully we're inspired. Are you already thinking about a space that you want to kind of get into and work through? And maybe it's not the kitchen, maybe it's the bathroom, or maybe it is also the bathroom. So let's chat bathroom space for just a moment. Then we're going to go ahead and set that timer, and hopefully you're getting energized to go that 10 and 10 little push. in 10 minutes. During that time, I'll be here looking at the chat, answering questions. So if for any reason you're not going to go off to go do, don't worry. And of course, you can always substitute in your own organizing adventure. So it does never has to be what I'm saying. It can always just be what would make most sense for you. So Florence is going spices. Spices are calling her name. I love it. Oh yes, Deborah's, you all have fantastic ideas. Thank you for sharing. I love this. It's just so fun that we can kind of come together and share ideas and be inspired and then get something done. I think that's one of my favorite parts, right? We get stuff done. Okay, so let's shift now to that bathroom space. Maybe you have one bathroom, more than one bathroom, vanity, no vanity, whatever you've got going on. Under sink, no under sink, pedestal sink, shower organizer, corners of showers, linen closet, all the things. And we're probably going to find stuff like single use. It's sort of like the free try me kind of thing. I mean, this is ages old. I don't even know. But yeah, not going to finish it. I just kind of tend to stick with my favorites. So sort of when it comes to maybe most especially the bathroom, but probably just in general, my kind of guideline is I don't buy just to try. I don't buy just to try. If I'm going to buy something, I absolutely have to make sure that I can return it. I have very curly hair, and so I've tried so many products through the years. They're very expensive. And so I try to get a sample, borrow it from a friend, and only ever buy it from a place that I can return it because it's so particular. So don't buy just to try, because that's how I would end up with a bunch of stuff. I also try really hard not to go for the free samples, even though it's really hard to say no to free stuff. It's not really free. I mean, it's free in the moment, but especially if you didn't need it, you won't use it. Then what happens is you have to store it. You have to figure out what to do with it, where to put it, how you dispose of it when you're finished not using it and feel bad for not using it, even though it was free. Just all the things. And so I tend to try not to bring home the free stuff. And that includes like all those little packets that they give you for like, tablets and taking your vitamins and your medication, and you attend a program, and then they're like, oh, here's like some free stuff. Here's a pen and a notepad and a little organizer. And it's like, but if I didn't need it, and that doesn't tend to be the best quality stuff either, and then that's a whole other issue. So love it. Great suggestions for where to donate things. I love that. We're going to circle back. Pat, hang on that. Great ideas rolling in. And some of you are just using all of our time for working. So that's fun. And we love that too. All right, let's continue on in the bathroom. Then we'll circle back to some lingering questions and set our timer so we can get going. And I promised you that we were going to look at that little symbol that's starting to be on products. Product packaging, product containers. And so you're going to start to see this. It's already on some things. You'll usually find it close to the recycling symbol on the back of a package. You might need a magnifying glass. Sometimes I'll open my camera and zoom in so I can really read it. And I'm going to show you what it's going to look like. So here's an example on the screen. There you go. So this is sort of what this would look like. And it's called period after opening. So period after opening, PAO, it's a PAO symbol. 3M, 9M, 18M, and you've probably already guessed, and you would be right if you thought that stood for months. So what they're trying to show you is these products, when we bring them home, the clock starts ticking. Opened or not, the clock really does start ticking. I mean, you'll see on store shelves, they rotate stock. That stock is new and unopened, but it still gets rotated. The clock starts ticking when you bring the product home. The manufacturer has accounted for the, time on the truck and the sitting on a shelf and then you buying it, but they're assuming you're buying it, bringing it home, opening it, and using it because you needed it. They didn't count on those of us that like to stock up. So, oh, we like that shampoo, let's buy 6 more. And then there they sit in the closet, only for them to either drip or get lost or get forgotten about, or you change your minds and you like a different one better. And then all of a sudden, what are we supposed to do with them? So lots of great ideas coming in the chat. If you can see it, please do take a peek. Thank you again for everyone for sharing. Okay, so that's our period after opening symbol. I'm going to give you a very broad expiration chart. It's the kind of thing that I researched heavily for the book. I spoke with dermatologists and ophthalmologists and physicians. I spoke with manufacturers and dermatologists and podiatrists. I mean, just I tried to really get a lot of useful information so that you would know, oh, that's expired, it should go. So period after opening. So P period after A opening, and that's it, period after opening. So it really acts as like a best by date. So sure, some things are okay beyond their best by date. The risk we run is, and again, not a scientist, but chemical compounds change. And you know this probably because you've gone back to something and this was white at one time. It's like an off white yellow now. I don't know why it changed, but it's very different. Smells are different, consistency is different, colors different. The performance is different. You think that the, sunscreen is okay, and then you get a burn. Will we know that? We won't know that. We think the bug spray is okay, and then the bugs are still bothering. You think the product is fine, but it irritates you because one of the chemicals is, more than the other one evaporated. You've probably seen like a sticky perfume or cologne, right? It's changed. It's not the same. It doesn't smell the same. Things are not meant to last forever, especially in the bathroom with personal care, first aid, and medications. So over-the-counter medications and prescription medications, one of the things to know, most police departments, and this is true of our awesome community, we've already missed the April 27th take back day, but don't worry because the police department has 24/7 in the lobby has this bin where you can deposit the medications for drug take back 24/7. It's right there. The CPD lobby 24/7, and there is your address. Now, if this isn't convenient to you, then of course, check with your local police department. The other thing you can do looking for medication drop back, take back is you can go into, and I'll just show you, I'm going to open up Google Maps on my phone. So here's my phone, and I am opening up Google Maps. So hang on a second. And I'm just going to lower the brightness, so hopefully you can see this. Okay, I'm opening up Google Maps as if I was looking for directions to my local library where I could ask for a library card, because remember, September is library card sign-up month. And you know how you have a search bar that you can search for, like, whatever you are looking to search for, a cafe or a library. And I'm going to type in medication drop-off. Medication drop-off. And when I type in medication drop-off, it gives me all these pinpoints on the map to let me know all the places to go. So hospitals, yes, Teresa, thank you. Rite Aid, AS, you're absolutely right. CVS, Catherine, another one. Ellen, CVS, yes. Liquid medication. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things that are coming in. And sunscreen, new each year. Diane, I think you're spot on. So liquid sunscreen typically has a 6-month expiration. Aerosol sunscreen is usually longer. Bug spray, 6 months. So, again, you're going to make your own decision. I don't want to spend your money for you, but I also want to keep you safe. Okay, liquid medication. So the rule is nothing down the drain unless you would mix something with water, like a cleaning product that's made with water, nothing down the drain. So no tablets or anything. If it's a liquid medication, and again, you can check, with the local pharmacy, if oftentimes they will take it back. If they don't, they would probably, and the DEA suggests on their website, you just put it into something absorbent, kitty litter or newspaper, a towel, so that then you just dispose of it in the regular trash, but you don't dispose of it as a liquid. It kind of becomes a solid when it gets absorbed. So hopefully that's helpful, Patty. Nothing down the drain is just a really good rule of thumb. Cynthia's asking about like sharps and medication injection. So here in New Jersey, and again, we always want to check with the guidelines to be sure, but here in New Jersey, they have us put them in like a coffee can, tape the coffee can closed and write personal sharps on it, and then just dispose of it in the trash, which doesn't sound right, possibly, but it is right. I checked. So again, every state may have their own regulations. If you let me know the state, I can try to look it up for you. Pat, yes, coffee grinds would be a great way of disposing of that. So nothing down the drain, even like an old shampoo, because you just wouldn't put that much shampoo, if you're washing your hair, down the drain at once. We don't want any plumbing issues. So we want to keep you and your home safe. So let's think 6 months, liquid sunscreen and bug spray, 3 months, mascara and liquid eyeliner. 3 months. That's right up against your eye line. You're contaminating it and putting it back into a dark, wet container. Sunscreen and bug spray 6 months, liquid eyeliner and mascara 3 months. Carla says her town hall collects sharps. That's a good one. And yes, a lot of hospitals do take them as well. Okay, Cynthia checking on that for you. Okay, and then products applied to the face. Again, a very general umbrella guideline of 1 year. So foundations and lipsticks and lip gloss and blush and powder, shaving cream, aftershave, products applied to the face, generally. Yes, some can be shorter, some may be a little longer, but generally 1 year. And then 2 years, products applied to the body, shampoo and conditioner, cologne and perfume, nail polish, 2 years. And you know it changes. It gets gloppy, the color's wrong, it doesn't go on any longer, all the things. So that's the situation. And Pat's just clarifying for us, yes, so always checking with your local, town, figuring out Department of Public Works, the town hall, the health department, and we will take a look for Massachusetts guidelines. I, of course, am in New Jersey, so things are different. Okay, so things that are not that you're not going to finish. Think of if it's laundry supplies or cleaning supplies. A lot of times a local pet shelter would like to have it. They're doing a lot of laundry often. The volunteers, they're cleaning all the time. And so that might be something they'd like to have you bring in. So that period after opening symbol, start to look for it around the recycle symbol on products to see what's there and what's happening. And then we're going to look through first aid. So anything that's contaminated, that's supposed to be sanitary, anything that's out of date that needs to be replaced, don't forget to keep a running replace me list so that as you're working, you think, oh, don't I have, cold medication or tummy upset medication? And then you're like, oh, nope, that was expired. Wish I would have thought to replace it in the moment on the spot. So that is that bathroom space. We're looking again, storage first so that we can create storage so stuff can get put away. Surface, because now we can put it away, and then sustain the whole thing so that the piles don't happen. And that's really the goal. But also think about appliances, hair appliances and hair dryers and makeup bags and all the things that you just may have outgrown. You don't need as many. You don't like them. The zipper's broken. It doesn't work. You just don't need what it does. If it crimps your hair and you don't ever crimp your hair, then you don't need to keep the hair crimper. So are we inspired to go ahead and get started? Teresa reminds us animal hospitals and pet shelters for old bath towels. So if you're doing the linen closet as well, old linens and things, absolutely. I love this. I love our idea of sharing. Well, we're going to put 10 minutes on the timer, and that will bring us right up to the time when we'll circle back for any final questions. And then you can see the progress you're making in 10 minutes. So we're looking for 10 things in 10 minutes. That's really our goal. If you feel like you're going to go for more, strive for more. If you're like, I can just do one thing today. It's been a long day. It's, it's almost the end of the week. Then we do that, and we'll just be really happy with our win. So I'm going to put 10 minutes on the timer. I'm going to circle back to questions in the chat. I'll be answering chat questions if you had any, but if you want to go do. I'm not going to teach anything new until we all come back. So 10 minutes, organizing adventure, choose your own organizing adventure. We're going to begin our 10-minute timer in 3, 2, 1, and we are going. Be safe, keep your feet on the floor, don't take down anything heavy, everyone work at your own pace. We're off, and 10 things in 10 minutes is our goal. I feel like we need Jeopardy music. Here we go. And we do have information on the Sharps drop-off. So there is a public health Sharps drop-off. And I can put that information, I think, in the chat. How's it going? Timer's ticking. Did you find 1 or 2 things by now? I hope so. I'm going to share our screen as everyone's working. Our timer's ticking down. And if you are available for Sharps drop-off in the Chelmsford area, your next date is September 9th from 9 to 4. And then after that is December 9th. And here is the drop-off location is the health department. Registration is not required. you have any questions, the phone number's there. So we're just under the 7-minute mark. How's it going? I hope it's going really well. That timer's ticking. You might play your favorite song in the background to be energized as our timer ticks away. Hopefully 10 minutes will be enough time to do something that you can see your progress, but not so long that you get burnt out. And we'll come back to that Sharps information in just a moment. Welcome, Beatrice just popped on just in time for a 10-minute tidy up. So please do join us. We have 6 minutes left. We were looking to find 10 things to toss in 10 minutes. So there we have it. Oh, Pat, great suggestion. Let's look at the other Sharps. So it's going to be the health department, September 9th, and then December 9th from 9 to 4. No registration is needed. And we are just coming up on that halfway mark. So if you tuned in a bit after we got started, we focused in on that kitchen or bathroom or choose your own organizing adventure with 5 minutes left on the timer, halfway through. So have you found 5 things already? I hope so. Timer's ticking. So Kendra's got a great question. How often do you do 10 things in 10 minutes? I mean, once a week would probably be a minimum. I would say, maybe make a schedule if you could do it on a Tuesday and a Thursday. If you could do it once a day, that would be amazing, but we want to really set ourselves up for success. So if that feels too intensive, especially with a very busy schedule, then maybe on Tuesdays and Thursdays or first thing on a Saturday. But minimum once a week would be my suggestion. Of course, some people do it once a day. It's really empowering because I think it's a little block of time with a big win. So that's pretty cool. Teresa's got stuff going. Hopefully Beatrice jumped in. Let's take a look at a few other questions. So good spices that you don't use, Florence. That's a great question. Good spices that you don't use. I mean, friends, neighbors, family. I mean, it's hard sometimes. You spend good money on spices to just toss them, but if you're not going to use them, we wouldn't want them to be, just hanging out, and they are going to just continue to get more stale and less useful. So I guess that's probably the best answer. Yeah. Depends on the spice. Some people use them for dyeing, like turmeric and things like that. Food coloring, good question. So Camille, I've checked with a lot of different manufacturers, and a lot of food coloring doesn't expire. I personally am not comfortable with that answer. And of course, I'd always have you double check. I just replace it. I replace it on a yearly basis, but I do a lot of baking and a lot of coloring of things. But yeah, a lot of them don't expire. Like honey, salt, as long as it's pure honey and salt and food, it says it doesn't expire. But I would check with the manufacturer. And then I date everything. And we're going to talk about that when we come back. Yeah, I know they're expensive, especially the gel ones, which are my favorite. So yeah, but check because I don't believe, and again, like a Wilton, but again, double check. Yep. Oh, Beatrice, I love that. Work on a Sunday because if Monday's trash day, then out it goes. So that works out perfectly. I love that. It's a good system. And yeah, buy nothing groups. That's another great idea. So if you have stuff to go, yeah, someone probably wants it. What's that thing? 3 minutes left on the timer. 3 minutes. So did you feel like this is going faster than you expected? Slower than you thought? Are you more successful than you imagined? Right on point. 3 minutes left on our timer. I'm going to put that Sharps information back up onto the screen. So now remember, this is a webinar, so unfortunately I can't see you. All I can see is if you chat or pop a question in the Q&A. So if you're raising your hand as a participant, unfortunately I cannot access you to talk to us in the webinar format, but we're very glad you're here. A quick reminder about those drop-off dates for the Sharps, 2 minutes and 22 seconds left. So we are well past that halfway mark, and we're coming up on our 2 minute reminder. So this is your 2 minute warning. So not to rush, not to stress, just to know we've got 2 minutes left. We're going to be counting it down together, and we'll wrap up with one other idea and any final questions. As our timer ticks away, 2 minutes on the timer. I'm going to pop back into the chat. We're doing it. Cynthia, you're welcome. Mary's been busy. If you're already back, let us know what you've been working on. The successes are building in the chat. Hair dryers and curling irons, I just do buy nothing groups or donate them. So, yep. Or sisters. I have sisters or anyone else you know. Oh, Teresa, fantastic. So impressed. Teresa, way to go. Textile recycling at the school. Diane, great idea. Yep. Community center. Beatrice, excellent idea. Cynthia's on a roll. Mary's got stuff going. 1 minute and 11 seconds, everyone. Catherine says, I retired 4 years ago and wore makeup every day. I just checked and the code reads 6 months. I know. It might change some of our buying habits to realize what has to go. So, Tanya, you and I are on the same page. We're going to be talking about dates in just a moment. We've got 55 seconds to go. So this is your final push. Can you find one more thing? Wrap something up. Don't leave leftovers. So anything that's out that needs to get put away. Period after opening, Betty, period after opening. So PAO is period after opening. Let's take a look at that on the screen again. So these are those little codes that you're going to see on packaging. 33 seconds, everyone. The countdown is on. How did you do? Let us know in the chat. So you'll see this, Betty, like a 3-month, it's usually next to the recycling symbol on a product packaging, beauty care, personal care, and that lets you know the length of time, period after opening. And remember, they're expecting you to bring it home and open it, so the clock starts ticking when you bring it home. Carol's on a roll, 2 kitchen drawers. That's amazing. Carla's got those samples going. Yeah, this is great. We're down to 3, 2, 1, and our jazzy little timer is celebrating a win with us. Way to go. So you see that maybe using that method of just, okay, I can do anything, even if it's not that much fun for 10 minutes. I can totally do it. So M stands for month. So period after opening, Pat, that little like 3M is the month. 3M, 6 months, 12 months. Thanks for clarifying. Yep, there you go. Susan's got 10 spices gone and a cutting board. I love it. Cleaned out the coffee and the tea, found the egg cups I've been looking for. Sometimes we hit the jackpot. We find something we've been looking for. I call it pre-lost. It's not lost because I wasn't looking for it, but if I was looking for it, I wouldn't look there. So technically it was lost, but I just didn't know that. So I call it pre-lost when I find something that I would have never looked there. Patty's been busy. Way to go. Nancy, oh, this is awesome. Expired aspirin and CVS drop off, Rite Aid, Walgreens, and then or at the police department in the vestibule. Most police departments have a drop off that's available like 24/7. 8 things gone. Janet, this is great. Everyone's been so busy. So what if you were to do this once a week? Put it on your calendar. If you end up doing more, great. But if you plan for it once a week, set an alarm on your phone, make a date with yourself, make it be a fun thing. If you share your space with someone else, can we each do this before we watch our show? What can you do on a commercial break of a television show? Call a friend. Let's each do a 10 and 10 toss. And just, this is just so inspiring. I think like it gets it going, right? And especially if we have trouble getting started. So more than 10 things under that sink. Spices are gone. Impressive work. What an awesome group. We're going to come back on the 3rd of October and we're going to talk photographs. As we're wrapping up our time together, if you can leave a marker, and always if it's safe to do so, somewhere in the kitchen convenient and maybe in the medicine cabinet of the bathroom. Now, there was a comment earlier, and I apologize. I have to scroll back and see who asked, but it is true. Medications, it's actually not best to store them in the bathroom, only because humidity and dampness and all the things, temperature fluctuations, it's actually not best, but we always want to keep them safe. So it has to be somewhere up high, but somewhere not open to sunlight and of course safe, but probably not the bathroom. Oh, Cherie asked the best place to store it. The bathroom's actually, even though it's a medicine cabinet, it's not the best place. So like my mom, we had a hall closet with a very high upward shelf and she kept them in a bin up there. Of course, remember where you put them and always be safe. We don't want little ones or pets having access to them. But if you can keep the markers, again, if it's safe to do so, because then when you open something or you bring in a can, I will write the date right on the top of the can. Like a canned good, can of soup or something. My packaging, I will write it directly on here because I can't read the little codes And just like you all were saying, like, I thought I just bought something, and then when I look back, I'm like, that was 3 years ago. I feel like I just bought it. So it's a really good thing if you can just mark your own dates. That would probably be really helpful. Yep, Dress for Success. Catherine, your idea for Pat is spot on. So look for Dress for Success. There we go. Oh, and even more ideas coming in. I love that you all are sharing ideas with everyone. And this is, again, our little declutter club. So we're going to do it again. It's the first Thursday of every month. We do thank the library for making our program possible. And as we wrap up our time together, I will share with you that Sharps information for those of you in the Chelmsford area one more time on the screen. And then we're just going to take a look very quickly at my favorite lighting, because the two rooms that we really focused in on today could benefit, I think, from some stick up lights. So September 9th, which is right around the corner, and then December 9th, 9 to 4 at the health department, your Sharps drop off. So if that's helpful for anyone, please do make a note on your calendar to get that stuff going. Cheryl, I love your ideas. This is great. And yep, let's take a look at the period after opening, and then I'll show you my favorite lights. So this is what that little icon will look like on the packaging. So you'll see one of these, hopefully, and not everyone's doing it, but those that are doing it, it's usually next to that little recycling triangle. It will be very small, just like the triangle is, and it will look like this. So if the product is, period after opening 6 months or 24 months, that's what you will see. And that's how you can more easily tell, like, is this something I should use? Again, I don't know. I couldn't guarantee that you would be harmed by it. But if you're not getting the protection or you're getting too much of a particular chemical, we just always want to keep you safe. And then refresh for the season, change up your colors, change up your scents, just keep it fresh. Let's look at those lights as we wrap up our time. And these are battery operated LED stick up lights. I'm not hiring an electrician. I don't want to have to run wires. I just want, some workable lights, especially under a sink. So let's take a look on the screen. This is a pack of 6. They're motion activated. So if that's okay for you to have a light coming on, a Sabbath, that's not going to work, but you open a drawer. So a back of a deep drawer, a cabinet under a sink, you just stick them up. It's a little hookup. It's a little magnet. You just stick it up. Takes regular batteries. They do make them in rechargeable as well. It senses motion. It turns on. I have them under the cabinets in the kitchen also, just to shine down on the countertop. So at night, if I go in, that's what I use as the night light in the bathroom as well. So I can put a link in the chat in case you want to take a look at it. And then I can show it to you also on a page. So these are just those stick up lights. And it's just a brand that I've tried a lot of them. So I just try to test it before I tell you about it. But in case you want to see them on Amazon, which is, everything gets sold on Amazon. Here they are. So this is, you would type this in, amzn.to/3zexgdy. Just the way that it is here. So you can take a screenshot. No one's names or pictures are appearing on the screen. So if someone's taking a picture, don't worry. Nothing identifiable about you is showing. And we have to wrap our time together. I don't know how this hour goes so fast. TT, let me know what photo you missed, and I'll be happy to put it back up. And I can't wait to see you again next month. So are you going to tell yourself what you want to do so you can come back on October 3rd and give us a success update? So maintain, work more, 10 minutes, whatever you'd like to work on, please let us know. So here's that information on the lights, and up there in the top corner is how you can find them. It's highlighted in yellow. So I hope that helps. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. A big thank you to the library. Do remember, it is library card sign up month. So if you need a card or a replacement card, please do go grab yours. Jump in the chat if you want to say thank you to the library or give us a success or your favorite takeaway. And we'll wrap up. We'll be back together next month. Happy decluttering, everyone. Have a lovely month. Congratulations on all your success today. And set a goal for yourself so you can come back next month and tell us what you did. I'm going to take these lights down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are done. I can put that up again if you need anything. There's a question about the book. This is it. Keep this, toss that. Wherever books are, including the library or sold, written in checklist format to make it super simple to read. You're very welcome. All the chats are rolling in, all the thank yous. Thank you for taking time and spending it here with us. I can't wait to do it again next month. So we'll see you then. Happy decluttering. So long.